Yeah, definitely felt good. I told you I was going to keep shooting until it go in, and that's what I plan to do. But that's what shooters do. If I don't take those shots, they usually lead to turnovers, and we already probably leading the league in turnovers right now. So I'm just going to keep shooting, but it definitely felt good to see it go through the net a little bit.
Natalie?
DeWanna, for you, how much does it mean to you to have your daughters continue to watch your career? And, I saw you warming up with them,
Yeah.
and getting to spend that time with them, not just now, but, as they continue to grow up.
For sure. It's always good to have them here in Connecticut. But when I tell you they do not want to come to the games, they do not want to come to the games. They always say it takes too long. But unfortunately, right now, my nanny's not here, so that's why they're here. But but they enjoy it. They have fun. I'm glad they get to see me play, because they don't really watch on TV too much. So when they're here, for them to see 1 or 2 games is always fun. And I always try to put on the show for them because I want them to play basketball. So, see her, be her.
Have they showed any interest in basketball yet?
Yeah, they do, but they always act shy. So they always want to go play and go shoot and things like that. But hopefully it's the shyness will wear off when they get a little bit older and go out there and play basketball. But let me tell you, if they play basketball, social media, you better be nice to my babies.
Yes. Any other questions in the room? Emily?
Crazy for you. Just how are you feeling after you had a long day a couple days ago, and then obviously a little bit more of a pared back day today? Was that just to try to give you a little bit more rest after the longer start?
Yeah, no, it's just been a balance of just, finding, those moments where I could, take a little time, but I definitely feel good out there, and I think that's just the important part, just, while I'm out there feeling good and just, listening to my body, making sure I'm communicating with the medical staff that, everything feels good so that, in the long run, it's a long season, that by then I'm, clicking on all cylinders.
Kind of what are you looking for as cues from your body to tell you, I feel ready or I feel comfortable?
Mostly fatigue, and then the way I'm recovering after games. Because the first couple games, the recovery was tough. I definitely was feeling like I haven't played in a year. But these last few games, I've been recovering better and just being able to warm up better and start games better. So I think just the recovery.
DJ?
For you guys, going into halftime, those are 1-point games. I wonder, what was the conversation like at halftime for you guys?
Oh, can't tell you that secret.
Just, we got to be better at everything. I think there was a lot of slippage in that first half, and just, kind of defensively, we just, weren't doing the things that we needed to do. And I think coming out of halftime, we just knew we all had to be better at, everything defensively, offensively. And I think we came out in the second half and did that.
Matthew?
Hi, guys. Matt Price, designated report. Obviously, the 8-0 start, you guys came out and you were looking for 9-0. Is there any motivation to get that record that was set by Minnesota Lynx in 2016?
I did.
13-0 to get the start. Is there any motivation to not inspire you guys or something you're talking about right now?
Actually, we didn't even know that was a record till you just said that. I think in our locker room, it's one game at a time, We don't really worry about the 8-0 because we can go next week, we can go 0-8, It's a lot of great teams here. It's a very long season. Of course, we celebrate the wins, but it's short-term memory. We next game, one game at a time, and we had no idea about a record. So I guess that just speaks a lot about our locker room.
Christine?
Coach Stephanie White said earlier today that she was looking for your guys' field goal percentage to improve just based on shot selection.
Oh, did she?
Is that something when you're in the game that you can kind of see where maybe the shot selection right now is a little bit off, or if it's a spacing issue, is that something you've noticed, or just something you're going to look back and film later and try and...
I think it's just, just building that, chemistry, like the way our offense flows and things like that. It's just, putting people in the right spots and knocking down shots. But I think it's just, sometimes it gets a little stuck, the ball sometimes, but we're just, still working on building that chemistry and that flow on offense. And we've added some new pieces this year and it's coming along and we've, started great, but it's just, there's still things that we can get better at and improve, and we're going to keep doing that.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. We're 9-0, but look, listen, we're 9-0, we're winning, but we are not playing great basketball right now. Let's be honest, we're really not. So we got a lot of room for improvement. I think a lot of people are looking at our record and looking at how we're winning, but we have a chemistry that kind of been around, a long time, and other teams are going to start finding their chemistry. They're going to get better. So we're going to get better. We have to get better. But yeah, we have a 9-0 record, but we have a very long way to go. We have the worst 3-point percentage in the league right now, probably the worst free throw percentage in the league. We lead the league in turnovers, but we got a lot of vets, so it kind of, cover up right now. But if we want to be better, if we want to be a top team, we know we have to get better. We know we have a long way to go. We're not celebrating these wins at all.
I wouldn't say quickly. It definitely took a minute. The whole training camp, I definitely didn't feel comfortable. Just my normal shots weren't falling the way they used to. And in those first couple games, still just finding touch. And there was times where I'm like, I just can't catch things that I used to be able to catch. So just, finding that rhythm and just getting back out there. And I definitely felt like I hadn't played, in the 9 months before that. But just coming along, playing with this team, just slowly being integrated in has been good for me, and just slowly finding my rhythm, finding my touch. These last few games has been great, and I feel good out there.
I think if you have someone like Alyssa Thomas who can find anybody anywhere and literally get the ball off the rim and pushes us to keep up with her pace, that kind of leads you to fast break points, within itself. We get a lot of easy buckets coming off her push and her assist. So that's always a staple to fall back on. We know we always have that, to get us going. So that's kind of a bonus. And now having Bree back in the paint, I feel like last year everything was really hard and we couldn't just throw the ball inside. I mean, I was playing the 5. I'm not posting up down there. So now you get an easy bucket inside, when the thing's not, working, and then Bree's stealing, it's like, okay, forget the play, bam, that's easy 2 points, So we got a lot of things to fall back on, a lot of things to hang our hat on, which is good, but we still have to be better in our offensive flow, so we don't have to rely on those things. That'll just be an added bonus. Yeah, Ariel is a all-star. She's an Olympian. She's one of the go-to players in this league, and she makes them go. And I feel like we knew that, and we knew the focus coming in. You have to game plan for Ariel. She's a great player, and I think DeJanae did a great job. I think our post did a great job of, being at the point and taking her away from easy buckets, because you have to. Because once she get going, they get going, and she's our key focus. So it just says a lot about her as a player, but it just says a lot about our team and our defensive focus right now.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we have head coach Stephanie White do a quick opening statement, questions in the room, and time if we have time on Zoom.
I thought our group came out in the second half and really got back to what we do, particularly on the defensive end of the floor. I know I talked about it pregame, but the first half it was just like it was before. We were a step slow on the defensive end. We weren't up at the point in on-ball screen actions, and their movement caused us problems and put us in rotation because of it. And I felt like our effort on the defensive end in the second half was outstanding, and that allowed us to give ourselves a bit of a cushion and get out in transition. And then our ball and player movement offensively was much better, and that's what we've got to get to consistently.
Questions? Anyone like to start?
All right, let's go.
Emily, go ahead. I figured you'd have one.
A little bit less productive night for AT, but she's still the second highest plus minus for you guys. And just intangibly, what did you feel like she did for us tonight?
It's hard to say. We keep track of like screen assists and hockey assists, and she won both of those categories tonight. So, there's so many things that she does really well, and so many intangibles that don't show up on the stat sheet. Getting big defensive stops, changing up coverages, plugging gaps for us on the defensive end of the floor, and then being a ball mover on the offensive end of the floor. It felt like it stuck in her hands a little bit in the first half, and we tried to get it to her in different positions and get a little bit more movement around her in the second half. But all of those things, becoming a willing screener off the ball is just as important for us as it is with her on the ball. And then making the pass that gets the assist, being a ball mover is important, and she did a great job tonight.
Matt?
Hi, Coach. That price says in the report. Taisha Harris, she was 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 14 points and 6 assists. Can you talk about the spark that she seemed to get you guys with to have in the second half?
Yeah, she just keeps getting better. She keeps getting more confident on both ends of the floor. She's a shot maker. In fact, I told her tonight I'm going to start finding her $5 every time she passes up an open shot. And so, I think the biggest thing for her is just continuing to manage the game while looking for her shot and while being aggressive. she's a scoring point guard, and she's got to look at herself that way and feel confident enough to take those shots. I felt like for her defense wasn't as good as it could have been in the first half, and I thought she really did an outstanding job in the second half of setting the tone for us on the defensive end.
Christine?
You mentioned earlier how people can talk to you guys about the record and you're 9-0, but in the locker room, you're not really celebrating. Do you think that it's because of this group being full of veterans that they know what the prize is and what the goal is, and they're still focused on that, and that's why they're not really looking at the small victories back to back?
100%. I mean, this is a group that they've been to championships, right? They've been playing for WNBA championships. They understand, what it takes. And yes, it's great that we're 9-0, but it just turned June, and this doesn't really mean anything when it comes to September and October. Certainly, we want to position ourselves for success when it comes to seeding and things like that. But at the same time, we understand it's a long season. We understand that it's a season that there's a lot of ups and downs, right? There's a lot of ebbs and flows, and we got to be able to manage that, not just through the course of the game, but through the course of the season. And we certainly want to be playing our best basketball. But we also know it's going to get tougher with a lot more games in a short period of time, and being able to do the things that we have to do to make sure that we're fresh and ready to go, and executing and not digging ourselves holes early in ball games, so that maybe we get a little bit of cushion as the game goes on, is important as well. I think first and foremost, you're 100% correct. It's been a ton of work, certainly, her being able to be around a team when she was working at Maryland and be on the sidelines and coach and see the game from a different perspective helps from a mental standpoint, but also the commitment that she made to her rehab, to coming up here to work with our strength and conditioning coaches, to work with our player development coach, to get with our doctors, is really important. It takes so much self-discipline in the off season in this league to make sure that you're ready to go. And that's not just coming back from injury, but especially coming back from injury. And, she's a pro. She's a pro's pro. She does her job. She understands what it takes. But anybody who's had injuries and surgeries understands that sometimes it's hard when you're by yourself. And I'm thankful for her that she had her Maryland family around her to help her through that. And yeah, in her mind, it took her a little bit through training camp, through those first couple of weeks of the season, timing, rhythm, conditioning, all of those things to come back. But I'm I guess, pleasantly surprised at how quickly she's gotten back to form, and how it looks easy. It's not easy, but how impactful she's been able to be for us already this season.
We'll go to Blake on Zoom. Thanks.
What the expectation is for us in the second half. In the first half it wasn't. I feel like I think we held them to like 25% from the floor in the second half. But our energy, our intensity at the point, our ability to play through multiple actions, because Washington is a tough team to guard. I mean, they run multiple actions. Players are constantly in motion. That ball moves and pops, and it's not easy. I felt like our discipline was terrific. Our identity is a strong defensive team, and we've got to make sure that we can control that, and we have to do that, every game consistently. And I didn't feel like we had that the first half, but we regained it in the second half in a big way, and it was huge for us. Yeah, I mean, we had a different matchup. Obviously, with Sykes not on the floor, we moved some people around, and I think DB being able to check her, using her length, trying to make her, shoot over an outstretched arm, and she didn't have as much space. DB's able to cover a lot of ground because of her size and length, and so I think just trying to make things difficult for her. She didn't get as many attempts, I don't think, because I think we did a pretty good job of guarding our yard one-on-one, especially in the second half, so there weren't as many drive and kick rotation opportunities for her. So I give DB a ton of credit for what she did on the defensive end.
Tarika?
Yeah, I know you guys want to celebrate or at least, settle on this one before looking ahead until Saturday. But there is a big game against New York coming up, and for the last couple of years, that's been one of the testy teams that you guys have had to face. Would you say that is, and no disrespect to any other team, would you say that would be a good litmus test for where this team is, or how are we approaching Saturday, just coming off where you guys have been?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you look at the history of our team and our series with New York, on paper, certainly, I just think this team has a different mentality. I think that the experience that Ty now has, you know, she's different. The experience that Nay has and now is accepting in a starting role, she's different. I mean, DB had a full off season to rest, recover, and come back hungrier. You know, Breezy's on the floor. It's different. You know, we have experience with Rachel and Tiff. You know, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I think Liv looks stronger than she was a year ago. So we can give a little bit more resistance on the interior. You know, at the end of the day, when you look at New York's roster and the amount of, you know, Olympians, potential Olympians, you know, all league players that they have. But at the same time, you know, you look at our roster and the way that we're playing right now, you know, I think that for us, it's approaching it as step number 10, right? Like this, yes, it's New York, but again, it's June. And again, how do we position ourselves for success? How do we continue to gain confidence? You know, how do we make them uncomfortable? And how do we see where we need to be to beat them in a series when it comes to the postseason? You know, it's just the next step in our journey, and it comes against an outstanding team. So I think we're excited about the opportunity that we have in front of us on Saturday.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.